So welcome. We're on week 7, and we're still playing with these ideas and this way of working in terms of how much effort do we put in, recognizing that effort of movement will vary, both in terms of how we feel and also kind of if we're running the terrain we're running on, whether we're running uphill, whether we're running downhill, whether it's a new area, whether it's trail or fell or actual road. So just kind of keeping that in mind, and even kind of as we start the practice, thinking like, what amount of effort feels right for me tonight? So you might be tired, you might be kind of all in the head, you might be, I've done a lot of work that means the body's a bit vulnerable either the weekend or today. So kind of take that into account, decide what kind of right effort is. So today we're doing a little bit more with the hips, pelvic kind of unlocking, because not a lot of you need that, but that can be kind of quite a magic thing to release tension and to create more ease. So without further ado, either whether you're sitting on something to support you or whether you sit on the floor, if you initially just take both legs out in front of you. So I'm going to just sit a slight diagonal because it looks a bit weird having my feet like that. Okay, and if you have got something underneath your bum, just notice how things are. And then if you don't mind, if you have got something under your bum, just sit off it for a moment and see how it feels and what the difference is. So for most of us, it's this inability, if you like, to be able to sit through the sitting bones. So just noticing that and then making a choice of what you're going to do. So I'm back on for the moment. So I've got my foot on the floor, knee bent. I'm going to have it somewhere opposite my knee of the straight leg. I want to keep this leg reasonably active. So if it is that it's uncomfortable and you do need to bring the knee up, that's fine. But if you can keep it down, that's good. And just take the hold of the shin or the knee and then just slightly sit back. So you're more into a rounded back and then sit forward. And you can bring the chest toward, rib cage towards the thigh, that kind of contact if you can, at least in that direction. So you're sitting back and allowing yourself to kind of get more into a slouchy position around your back, and then you're sitting forward, and then you're going back, and then you're sitting forward. Okay, and then pause. If you can get the foot closer in without affecting the knee or the hip flexor nastily, then that's what you do. And we do the same thing. You might need to have the hand in a different position. And again, just keeping the foot gently engaged, so it might be flexed or dorsiflexed slightly there. And again, we just sit back slightly, and then we sit up. We sit back, and we sit up. If this is really nasty for the back, then see where you feel better. If you can feel better with the position of the thigh into the support of the rib cage, then that's what you go for. Okay, and we're done here. So we're going to change. We're going to stay with the same leg, whichever leg you've chosen, and we're then going to take the knee out to the side. Yeah, so it's more of an external rotation. Some people might have the knee up here, some will have it on the floor. So you have it where you have it, and just from here, just maybe starting with a positioning of the foot kind of broadly around the knee, so it's kind of like the arch is in the knee, and just take your hands behind you and see how the knee goes out to the side for a moment, and then raise the knee a little bit and then let the knee come down, and raise the knee a little bit and let the knee come down. So it's only a small movement. Some of you will be really comfortable with the knee all the way down. Most of us aren't. It's just raising and falling a little bit. Okay, so hopefully most people find this reasonably safe. So you can stay in this position and do the same thing. Or if it feels possible, you can bring the foot higher up into the thigh. So it would be kind of like, sometimes we do this in tree pose, but very rarely do we bring the foot quite so high up. Again, you can see if you can have support behind you with one leg, one hand, and then see if you can raise and release the knee on this side. Again, if that just really doesn't feel a sensible thing to do, then you can come out of that. And gently release. So I like to kind of keep hold of that knee. And again, so just kind of sort of letting the knees rest. So just pounding slightly through the backs of the calves. So you just get a little bit of release there. Or you choose your second side. So second side, to rearrange my support, we'll sit here on your support if you're using your support, and then just come off it for a moment and see how that is. So you may have got a little bit better from just the work we've done on one side. And then you make a choice whether you're staying down or whether you're coming up. And then opposite side, you're going to bring the foot somewhere by the knee, take the hand somewhere around the knee or the shin. You're going to sort of sit back a little bit and then sit up. Sit back a wee bit and then bring the rib cage broadly towards the thigh contact. And it might be really easy on one side and it might be really tight on the other. You might need support under the bum on one side but not on the other. And then if you're happy with bringing the foot more tightly in, yeah, more of a hug of the leg in, then you see how it is again, coming into and out of a lengthening through, coming into and out of that lengthening. And then just see how we are then, releasing that leg so that inside of the sole of the foot, the arch goes into the side of the leg, and you can then lift the knee up a little bit and then just let the leg go down, lift the knee up a wee way and then let it go down. And then you either stay in this position or you see if you can get the foot a little bit higher towards the center of the thigh, and you do the same. You lift and you lower, you lift and you lower. So you're kind of in control. If you got your hand on your knee rather than just allowing gravity, you don't need to push the knee down. You're just kind of allowing it to open a little bit more. Okay. And at some point when the knee's off the floor, just get the support to release and lengthen. And again, just pad the backs of the calves here. Lovely. Okay. So we will come back to straight legs, but for a moment, come with cross-legged position. So again, whether on the support or not. And we're doing what we've done previously. So we're going to take the hand behind the head, elbow out to the side, and we're going to take the elbow to the opposite knee and then swap over and do the opposite way around. Okay, so get a little bit of length here if you can, and then take opposite elbow to opposite knee, arrive back, swap hands over and elbow to the other knee, just checking that that's okay in the back of the lower back, the pelvis, the sacrum kind of area at the back. It doesn't feel too unstable. Just find your own timing as you kind of unravel a bit. So today we're kind of working quite a lot on unlocking the hips, but also a bit on unlocking around the trunk area. So some people are tighter in the trunk, some people are tighter in the hips. Some of you might be lucky and there's not a problem on either side, which will mean running and movement is easier. We've got a little bit more release there. Okay, so one more to finish off both sides. I think I started that side, so I'll just finish off on this side. Release and just see how things are there for a moment. Okay, so we're going to go back to legs extended. And we're going to have one leg extended and one foot where we had it previously. So with the heel fairly close into the closest position you're happy with. Now, again, I'll try and explain this maybe easier on an angle. I'm going to push that foot slightly away so the hip comes forward of the leg that's on the floor. That goes forward a little bit. The hand, so I've got my left leg here. I'm going to reach with my left hand and wrap around so I can come into a twist. So here I'm bringing the belly more round to face the inside of the thigh. And my back arm is somewhere behind me to support that. Okay, and from here, if you need to bend the knee of the extended leg, then do. If you can bring it down, then do. If it's too tight in the spine, then obviously just come out of this. So if you look forward more towards your foot, and then you just take your gaze round the room until you look over your back shoulder slightly, so the neck doesn't hurt, and then you just come back. So the gaze is just following around the room, but it's broadly going from just above the foot to maybe getting close to the shoulder on the back. You're feeling like you're tall, so feel like you're lengthened through your spine, as long as that feels, again, not too nasty in the lower back. So it's quite, for some people that will feel quite strong. And if you don't feel you can do this, obviously just take a break. And then facing forward, unwrap yourself, extend both legs away, and again, just pad them out for a moment. And then do the opposite side. So opposite foot in, just do this sort of pushing away, so you release your hips, so you're not trapped with your pelvis in a kind of uniform. You want to be able to twist, so you're going to extend through this leg. So whichever's your extended leg, that's your hand that's going to go forward to then do the wrap around, or the hand is spare behind you. Yeah, and just see how you manage on this side, and you're pivoting around through the rib cage as well if you can. And then look over the front foot, and then gaze forward, and then take the gaze around the room until you look broadly towards the back shoulder, and then just follow the gaze back round. So the idea about the gaze kind of following the room route, if you like, and just that kind of horizon, is that your neck will not be leading, it will be your gaze that leads, so you don't force the positioning of your neck beyond what it really is happy doing. Okay, remember to lengthen, so the belly will need to be in here a little bit. Okay, and next time you're looking above the foot, then we're going to unwrap ourselves. We're going to come out of it. We're going to pad the backs of the calves for a moment. Okay, well, so I'd suggest you come off the block or whatever support you've got. Just for a moment, just sit cross legs and just see how that feels. It might feel better, it might not feel better. And it's just getting a moment there, and then take the legs forward for a moment with the hands behind you, and again see how it feels. You've got anything, feel any sort of greater connection to the sitting bones here, which you may or you may not. Okay, so then we're going to do this thing where we're going to keep one leg extended again, but we're going to do a circular route with the heel on the ground. And what you're aiming to do is get the knee out and then come around again and get the knee in. Yeah, so it could be a big circle, it could be a really small circle. So take care with the heel. So don't want any carpet burn. Don't worry about your back in terms of, you know, if you're not actually upright, you can just lean back here. So you want to get an internal and an external positioning for the hip. So the knee goes out, frog's legs, and the knee comes in. And just see if you can manage that circle. I'm actually taking lots of carpet off the carpet. And then just reverse it. Circuit. So you have some time when your knees in, some time when your knees out. But if it's too strong for the knee to come in particularly, then make an adjustment to keep the circle a little bit more restrained. Okay. And then pause it. You'll feel like one leg's almost detached, but it won't be. And then we'll do the other circle. So interior, exterior, or external for the rotation. And it might be really easy on one side and really tight on the other. Hopefully we've got room to do that. And then circle the other way. So external, internal, external. Just really struggle on this side to get that circle. Just take it. Okay, and then really the interesting bit is if you can do both legs at the same time. And sometimes you can overthink this. So I'm going to bring the knees out Then my feet out, my knees out, and then my feet out. So go whatever way makes sense to do. And frogs legs out and knees together. Frogs legs out and knees together. If you can go the other way, go the other way. If you can't, just see what happens. Okay. Touch your legs from everybody at some point, I'm sure. Okay, and relax, relax, relax. So we've done everything for now on our front, so we're going to go on our back and do a little bit of recovery and a few other moves on our back. So hopefully you can get what we're doing. So coming onto your back with your feet on the ground and your arms just happy by your side, or you can have your hands on your belly if you prefer for a moment. And then just let the legs float side to side for a moment. So we're just rocking across the pelvis as the knees go side to side, and it's just our rock. So we're just trying to get a little bit more release for the hips and the pelvis in a more supportive position. Okay, and then from there, you can extend the arms up, and as the legs go one direction, then the arms go in the other direction. So we've done this loads of times, just as a way of spiraling the spine and unraveling a little bit between the shoulders and the hips. But just find a rhythm and a relaxing, easeful movement if you can. Okay, and pause. So we're going to do something broadly similar, but we're going to keep the shoulders a little bit more stable. So if you reach the arms up, but bring the palms together, so it's like a steeple, yeah, like a spire. And so you're going to keep that that's not going to move. Your hands are going to stay the same, your arms are going to stay the same, but then you're still going to rock with your hips across your pelvis like you were before. So it'll feel a bit more restricted, but can you sort of separate the movement of the arms from the legs? So there will be a little bit of movement, but you're trying to minimize the movement of the spine as you rock the legs from side to side. Okay, and relax the arms. And then take one ankle over the opposite thigh. Again, with the hands down initially, then just rock across the pelvis again. Side to side movements. And then create the steeple as you rock across the back of the pelvis, minimizing the movement as much as you can. Great. Okay, and then gently release. Swap the legs over. And yeah, start with the hands down, rocking across the pelvis, see how that feels. The arms supporting on the ground, and then see how you go with the steeple version, hands together. We rock from side to side. Okay. And then gently release that side. Okay, so just with the feet on the floor, you're going to have the heels reasonably close to the butt, and you're going to imagine you're going to be doing a bridge, but you're not going to take your pelvis off the floor. So you're going to push down through your feet and just make the back of the pelvis light. So you don't take your bum off the floor, but it feels like you're going to lift. So you're giving more weight through the feet at the moment, including the toes. So try and keep the toes down as well, and then release down and give weight to the pelvis. And then push down again as if you're going to lift, but you don't lift. Just lighten there. And then release it down. Okay, if this feels reasonably okay in your back, then feet stay on the ground again, but you push away, with each foot away from each other. So you're pushing towards the little toe side, giving some effort, but not absolutely maximum effort. And then release that. And then again, keeping the feet on the ground, you're pushing the feet towards each other, but they don't move. It just feels like you're pulling on the skin underneath your feet, but you're still keeping your feet on the ground and they're not moving very far at all. And then release. Great, well done. Okay, so then we're going to come to sitting. So just, you can either go over to your side or cross your ankles and rock up. Okay, so you might need your support. In fact, we'll try with the support if you've got your support. So what we're going to do is this 90-90 angle with the legs. So show you from here. Yeah, so I've got my shin. I've got my ankle and my knee in line at the front, and my knee and my hip in line there. And then with the back leg, hip in line with knee, knee with shin. Yeah. So you've got that kind of strange 90-90. So whichever butt is on the floor with the most weight, you're going to put something, use something underneath, then you're going to use it under that side. So I'm just going to move back a little way. Gosh, my carpet's a mess. Okay. So whether you've got support or not here, the support will certainly help you if you're rocking a long way over to one side. But first, I want you to take either one hand or both hands and go to that side you'd want to fall towards, so away from the thigh. And then come back up and then roll over in the direction that your body would want to fall, whether it's got support or not. So you're just going back and forth for a moment that way. That way. And then if you pause, see if you can come forward. So I've got my hand by the front, broadly by the front of the knee and the heel, and I'm seeing if we just go forward and back a little way, forward and back a little way. And if you look down, this is sort of a little bit like pigeon, which we're going to try and squeeze in before we finish. So it's a forward and a back, forward and a back, forward and a back. And then we're going to swap sides. So we're going to go over and change our positioning. So that will mean your support will be under the opposite butt. Maybe you're using that. Try and get that 90-90. And then you fall over to the side that your body wants to fall over to, and you sit up. You fall over to the side your body wants to go over to, fall over to that side, and then sit up. And then at some stage, taking your hands forward by your knee and your foot, see if you're comfortable to lean forward into that inner thigh, whether it's supported or not. Forward, back, forward, and back. Well done. And then just get your knees up. You have got something underneath, just take that away from underneath your butt, and then just have a couple of goes at each side at a little bit more easeful movement of the hips, which might be easier after we've done all what we've done. Okay, so we're going to get into pigeon next, so that's where we're heading. So if you come on all fours, we'll do plank first, just to activate the core for a moment and get a little bit more support to the center, just in case we feel a bit uncomfortable there. So taking your hands to the front of the mat with your shoulders over the wrists, and then step back into your plank for a moment if you can. If you want to join us on this, you can be on your forearms if that's what you prefer there. And just rock forward and back. So it's feeling like you're pushing to your heels, and then your toes sort of push you forward a little bit. So you're just moving a small distance. Okay, and just bring the knees down for a mini pause. So we're going to go up into plank and then raise the pelvis a little bit so that we can bring the knee forward into pigeon. So just see how this goes. So I'm coming back into plank and then taking the pelvis up more towards downward dog, but not kind of get there. And then we're going to step forward to bring the one knee towards, not at, but towards the same wrist. Yeah, you know what pigeon is now, I think everybody does. You can untuck your back toes maybe. If you need to keep coming in and out of this, then you tuck your toes under, you push yourself back, and you release. Then you come forward, so that's one option. You can come in and out of it, or you can hold it for a moment or two. That's the other option, just to get a little bit more opening in the pores. But you decide how much is sort of sensible. So if you can't breathe, it's probably not sensible to stay. If you're still breathing, then just breathe for another moment or two. Well done. And then back toes under, get yourself out of this and go up to into downward dog and just do a little bit of walking for a moment. Walking the dog. And we've got a dog that's actually in the class. Okay, and then from there you can take the opposite knee forward into your pigeon. And you can either come into it and come out of it, or you can stay in it for a moment. So I've got my shin fairly level, but some of you will not have that. I've got my bum quite raised in order to really get the work going on in the outer hip, sort of IT band, outer thigh, outer butt. Okay, we've done this now. So tuck toe under, release that front leg. If you were doing that, and then walking the dog, walking the dog, walking the dog. Yay. Okay, so we're just going to sit cross-legged for a moment. If you can come down and find your legs again. Okay, so if pigeon's a tricky one, doing that move where we're in this position here and coming forward is a good alternative to just see how you can create some opening. There are other ways. There are always other ways. So we'll just do a little bit of movement here just for 10 or 20 seconds. Okay, so we'll take the hand up like we did before, just do a diagonal. So hand behind the head and opposite elbow. Keep with the same hand there rather than switching over. So we'll do about 3 on this side, just in that direction. Pulling the back, then don't overdo it. And then swap over when you've done about 3 and heading in the other direction. Opposites. Opposites. Okay. 3. Lengthen through the legs. And again, just a little bit of pummeling it out. Okay, and if things don't feel so good in the back, you know, you can always come in and just bring it easy and then just have a little bit of a roll. But my work is finished. Your work is finished. Thank you for joining, if you were able to stay. So the video didn't work so well this afternoon because I got caught off the Wi-Fi. So I'll probably do the one I've just done for the replay. So it'll take a little bit longer to come. So thank you very much. Enjoy your break, and I will